Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening, Reyanshi. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good as well. Pleasure to meet you, even though virtually.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to thank you on the behalf of my entire team for taking a part in this.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure. It's an honor, actually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's get on with the interview. My first question is,
Right.
uh, what is the most important learning as a judge?
Uh, the most important, now I won't say this is a learning, but more like a realization. So, what happens is that the subordinate courts, I realized that they're the first line of defense for the common person, the Indian citizen. So, what is required is that it's very important as of now to transform the subordinate judiciary, at least, wherein every person who comes to the court is not there because of fear of the court, but is before the court to rectify or remedy anything that has gone wrong with him. So, just like now, there's a saying that people generally go to the hospital or the courts as a last resort. Now, that is something that needs to change. And I realized that compassion and patience in a judge goes a long way in ensuring that, in achieving that. So even if the first time a person appears in court, he may fear the court, but if the judge is compassionate enough, is patient enough to even give 5 minutes of patient hearing to a person who's appearing in front of you, the person will at least be satisfied that I've been heard. And next time when he comes to court, he'll be more comfortable with the process and also will ensure that he's properly represented, he's able to properly represent himself. So that is something that I've realized during my time in the subordinate courts in Delhi.
Yes, ma'am. That sounds insightful. So the second question is, what change do you wish to see in the Indian judiciary?
Uh, the first change actually that I'd like to see is probably more women judges in the higher judiciary.
Yes.
Uh, in the subordinate courts, the number of women who are sitting judges has definitely gone up. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the batch of the Delhi Judicial Services, which comprised about almost 75 to 80% of women judges. And they were all exceptionally brilliant. It was really good to be, a part of a batch where there was such major women representation. Uh, Now that is something that needs to really fall through to the higher levels of the judicial services as well, the judiciary, the high courts, and the Supreme Courts. So I hope that happens soon. The second thing I'd like to see change is the digitization in the lower courts. Delhi has been able to achieve that, especially during the pandemic. So it was very convenient for everybody to sort of at the click of a button be before a judge. That is something where Delhi and courts in Haryana and Punjab, and even in maybe the southern part of India have done really well. But when it comes to other parts, the northeastern parts of the country, and even places like Rajasthan, I feel the representation with regard to having a proper digitization and digital access to courts has not really happened. So that's something that needs to be done. There needs to be better court management so that there is streamlining of the legal process and digitization of records. Court records is again very important because that increases the transparency. These days, any person who has a matter before a court can go to the official website of the courts and look up what has happened in the matter so far, any orders that he may have missed. So there is more transparency in the system for the common person as well, who may not really understand law as such, but at least he knows what is going on in the matter. He's on top of it. So that is something that I hope for the entire country should happen.
Yes, ma'am. My final question is, what message would you like to convey to the next generation?
The next generation of lawyers, the first thing I'd like to say is that use the 5 years or 3 years of law school very wisely and take every opportunity that you come across. at least when you're in a 5-year law school, the first 3 years of law school, I think you should do as many internships in various fields that you can, so that at that early on you can sort of realize what your actual passion is, where your interest lies, so that in the 4th and 5th year you concentrate on that practice of law, and you're able to sort of chart your career better. You're in a position to take a more informed decision when you appear for interviews, or you intern at law firms in the 4th or the 5th year of law school. The other thing that I've been telling interns also who've been interning with our office, um, when you intern in an office, you need to take accountability for the work that you do. When I say accountability, I mean to say you're good at research. Your partner or mentor has asked you to work on a briefing note, for example, and which has to be on the basis of which a matter has to be argued in court. Now, as an intern, you're not going to be arguing in court, and you may work on a briefing note in a very theoretical way, looking up case laws and preparing a brief note. But it is best always to sort of take that opportunity and draft a briefing note in a way that you feel that in case you are required to go to court the next day, you will be able to represent your client well enough. So the effort needs to be something similar to that, because that's how you hone your skills. So that's what I have spoken to a lot of interns that I've had the pleasure of working with at our office. So these are the couple of things that I'd like to say to the next generation of lawyers.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All these answers had definitely had a learning curve for me, and I'm sure everybody who will see it will also learn so much from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reyanshi. Thank you so much for your time.